people don't seem to understand, and that's what has been the end game. And I really like President William Ruto for his foresight, because he is the one who was convincing us as his team members.
Yes.
That what do you give this person who becomes number 2? And I have always opined that the leader should go to the National Assembly, maybe the running mate should go to the Senate, so that they can lead their troops from within Parliament, because that is the crafting of democracy. But Raila Odinga is the one who led us to where we are today. He must take responsibility, because that time I was an advisor in his office, and me and Miguna confronted him because we wanted a pure parliamentary system, because it is the one game changer. If you look at all the countries that went parliamentary post-colonialism, they have developed New Zealand, Australia, and you can go on and on and on. But those who went purely presidential really do not seem to have done very well. So in a multicultural, multi-ethnic society, which majority of the countries are anyway, parliamentary system is better. But then also killing the 2 offices that were killed by the new constitution. The office of the official leader of opposition, I think for me that was a clear lack of oversight.
Yes.
Foresight, sorry for that, but not oversight, foresight, because you know, if you went into elections, and they have been very close, the last 3 elections have been very close. William Ruto won by 1.64%, really, 294,811 votes. In 2017, the election was nullified. In 2013, I think 50+1 was only about 7,000 votes.
Yes.
And even in 2007, Kibaki won by 2.35%. So you definitely then have nearly half the country outside. And they're all Kenyans. But then, instead of having this mongrel thing called handshake government, or Nusumkate, that they have seen in 0713, which I was privileged to serve as an advisor,
yes,
in the office of the Prime Minister, or the handshake one of 2017-22, which I was a senator and I was removed by Uhuru and Raila from the Senate, but thank God I went back after they tortured me. You end up with a situation where really whoever has been defeated to go back to Parliament and lead his troops from Parliament.
Yes.
It is a neater way of doing things, so, because they have the mandate of their electorate to keep the government in check.
Yes.
And if you look at the art of government, is the 3 arms of government. We have the executive, which is now whoever who wins power. Then you have the legislature, which is basically members of parliament, and also the judiciary. Now, for this legislature, then you have both sides, because there's no way one party will win all of the seats. Even if you are to go the South African way, I think it's also the Australian way, if I'm not wrong, where parties get parliamentary seats based on the percentage of the votes cast at the national level, because people vote for the party and then you go through the party list. Mm-hmm. You will even have very small parties, you know, getting certain votes. And that is the beauty of democracy, because it always gives mixed results.
Yes.
And so therefore, we threw that out of the window. Part of it was to vanquish whoever would be closest to winning power. And I think Raila at that point thought that he would be the winner, because Uhuru and Ruto were facing The Hague. But God works in mysterious ways. Uhuru and Ruto defeated Raila. Some people like Musalia Mudavadi have actually been out of power for 10 years. So what am I trying to say in short? You need some kind of soft landing.
Yes.
For whoever is the first runners-up for the presidency. And if you look at the history of our country, we are primarily a de facto 2-party state. There's that binary, dichotomy, for lack of a better word. Since 1963, we had Kanu and Kadu. You see that, of course, KPU, but then coming all the way to the Ford parties versus Kanu in 1992, and then coming to DP and Kanu 1997, and then NAC and Kanu 2002, PNU and ODM 2007, and then you have Jubilee, JAP, URP, TNA on one hand, and ODM CORD on the other.
CORD, yes.
So they are always, 2017 again, it was a rematch of Jubilee versus NASA. and then 2022 it was Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza. So there are always two sides. The rest of the candidates are basically also runs, people like Wajakoya and David Mwaura and Wahiga. And so because of that reality, then you will have the half of the country in the opposition. And Ghana has actually demonstrated that well than any other country in Africa. Yes. Where at some point, I think, is it 2016 elections, if I'm not wrong, the president won by less than 1% percentage point, and the other group goes into the opposition. So that is the kind of culture that you want to emulate. But then there should be a fallback position, where then you don't make noise in funerals and the streets and mandamanos. Yes. You do it in parliament.
If you look at the goodwill now, and when the president floated that, the hardliners in Kenya Kwanza were not essentially happy with that particular suggestion by the president, that we actually need to create the office of the opposition leader. It doesn't have to be for Raila Amolo Odinga, it's for the opposition leader. Does he have goodwill for that particular motion to even go to parliament? It
will, because people will vote along party lines, and that should be a bipartisan outcome. It's one of the key concessions that have been made by the bipartisan group.
Yes.
And I don't think we need to overdelay that, because President himself wrote a memorandum to Parliament asking Parliament to create that position.